evaluate 1 plus I squared, where I is the square root of -1. So we need just expand it, and it becomes, using just formula a plus b squared, it becomes 1 plus I squared is I squared plus 2 times 1 times I plus I squared, and I squared, it's what? It's just -1, and it becomes 1 minus 1, 0, so it's just 2I. Next, prove by mathematical induction that 1 plus I to the power of 4n is -4 to the power of n, where n is positive integer. So as usual, we start with the smallest possible value for n. It's 1. So for n is 1. 1 plus I to the power of 4 times 1 is 1 plus I to the power of 4. So we can rewrite it as 1 plus I squared and squared. And using the previous result, it becomes 2I to the power of 2. So it's 4I squared is -4, and -4 to the power of 1, or we can write the left hand side and the right hand side. -4 to the power of 1 is -4, as -4 is -4. True for n is 1. The next step is we write assume true for n is k, and we rewrite given statement substituting k for n. So it becomes 1 plus I to the power of 4 k is -4 to the power of k. The next we consider for n is k plus 1, and when it shows that it's true for n is k plus 1. So 1 plus I to the power of 4 multiplied by k plus 1, because we substitute k plus 1 for n into our statement. And as usual, when it splits it into up to k plus or multiply some additional factor, so that we can use this assume true for n is k. So we can split it into 1 plus I to the power of what? 4k and plus 4, and using the properties of powers, it just becomes multiplied by the same base, 1 plus I to the power of 4. And it becomes 1 plus I to the power of 4k, and it's what? -4 to the power of k. And using the previous result, 1 plus I to the power of 4, it's -4, so multiplied by -4. And we can see that it becomes -4 to the power of k plus 1. And we can see that we get -4 to the power 1 when n is k plus 1. So it's true for n is k plus 1. And conclusion, if true for n is k, true for n is k plus 1. Since true for n is 1, true for any n is positive integer. And that's all for this question. And the last question, hence otherwise, find 1 plus I to the power of 32. And using the previous result, we can see that 32 is what? 4 times 8, so it becomes what? -4 to the power of 8. So we can write that 1 plus I to the power of 32 is 1 plus I to the power of what? 4 times 8, and it's -4 to the power of 8. And just using a calculator, it becomes the next value. And that's all for this question.